So now we're talking about The Devil's Hand, 1962 black and white horror film. And this one to me was just flat, not scary, and it just runs out of steam real fast. And it's not because it's a black and white film, but this is like a bad episode of The Twilight Zone. I could see this falling into that category. Now the plot, and I'll sort of go, I'll go off the back here too a little bit. You have our leading actor, who's played by Robert Alda, and he becomes bewitched by this beautiful high priestess that's tied to this voodoo cult, and he sees her as like the girl of his dreams, but she's actually a projection, again, that's tied to this cult. And the cult leader is played by Neil Hamilton. Yeah, Commissioner Gordon from the 1960s Batman series. I'm like, okay, there's Commissioner Gordon. But the cult kidnaps his fiancée and prepares to offer her as a human sacrifice. So then he engages in a battle, with the cult. And that's kind of the plot here. And like I said, this one is just... First off, the film starts off with surfer music, like Beach Boy-esque surfer music. And I'm like, this is really off-putting because it's a horror film, but you have the surfer music to kick off the movie. Now, in the first 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes, because you have Neil Hamilton. I recognize him. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. But after that, the movie just quickly flatlines. And again, it's just flat and it goes nowhere. And it just runs out of steam real fast. I mean, there's no scares. I mean, even with the voodoo stuff, the voodoo aspect, it's like they kind of go half in on it. I'm like, just go all the way with it. I mean, it's just little mentions of voodoo, and you have some voodoo dolls in this movie. But it's like, it's like they go half in with it. And it's more about this cult, and even the scenes with the cult is silly. And Neil Hamilton, again, as the leader of this cult. Now the cast, Robert Alda, technically he isn't bad, but the material he's given here doesn't help. Again, I can't really rant about the acting, because Robert Alda, again, technically he isn't bad, but the material here, the story is not interesting enough. Linda Christian, who I believe is the priestess, I didn't really care for her. Neil Hamilton, I'm like, okay, it's cool to see him. I recognize him here, the only recognizable actor that I see, but there's not too much to the cast. I mean, the film is only an hour and 10 minutes, but at the same time, for an hour and 10-minute movie, it just really flattens and flatlines real fast. And again, there's no scares, and the drama between the characters is not interesting, because the middle, like the second act, you don't care about. And then when it gets to the finale, where they're getting ready to sacrifice the fiancé, Robert Alda stops Neil Hamilton, but by the end, the priestess is still alive, and you see her character in the clouds as a projection. So I don't know what more I can add to this. And again, I want to make this clear. It's not because it's a black and white movie. It's just not a good movie. I mean, it has like a 4.5 on IMDb, or 4.6. And like I mentioned before, it starts off with surfer music, which is really off-putting. So yeah, I mean, The Devil's Hand, I'd rather get a hand job by the devil than watch this movie again. I'd much rather get, But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts and rant on The Devil's Hand. To me, just a bore fest. A flat, not scary horror film. So that's my thoughts on that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.